right, we now welcome on another very special guest, our 10th guest of our 10th episode. We hit double digits.
Woo!
Big ups. We welcome on Jonathan Lewis. Thanks
How
for
are you
coming
guys?
on.
How are you guys? Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, so to start, how much of your daily routine kind of has been changed due to quarantine? Like, especially now that the MLS is back, you're playing games. Like, what's different about like your daily routine now compared to before?
It's definitely very different. Being in quarantine now where we have to be a lot more careful what we do. You're not just living everyday life normally anymore, going to restaurants, hanging out with friends and family. Like, you got to really be isolated just because we can't obviously catch coronavirus and not only give it to other people, but, even being a close contact, for example, will can keep you out for up to 10 days, even if you're testing negative. So we have to be really, really cautious about who we're around, what we're doing, and basically be self-isolated almost in our house all the time, just thinking about soccer. And we literally have to live our daily life only thinking about the next game, the next training session, because that's essentially the world that we're in right now currently.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Would you say before quarantine you were more like a partying out on the weekends, like kind of guy?
No, I wouldn't say partying as much, but it's just, again, like after a game, you can go out, have a drink, go to dinner, hang out with friends, even if you're just having people over. I definitely feel like, now with the routine changing, even the game day situation, we're flying in on the morning of a game for an away game, flying out that night, so we're waking up 7 a.m. in the morning and getting home at depending on the market that you're going to, 1, 2, 3 a.m. the next day. So, and then we're playing again Wednesday, Saturday, or Sunday, Thursday. So, the next day you're training again. So that routine, even after an away game, you're not coming home to maybe go out after or do anything. Like, you're coming home, sleeping, getting ready to recovering for the next day of training. And if it's a home game, same thing. We finish 9:30, we're getting out the stadium, coming home, recovering, training the next day, getting ready for Wednesday. So with the schedule being the way it is, which is congested now because of COVID, the routine, it's literally just for these next, or for however long since the MLS was back, is for 3-4 months. It's just all been just soccer. Everything is literally soccer because of the way the schedule is.
Yeah. I didn't realize that you guys would fly in and then like play the games and then leave on the same day, like not even stay in the hotels or anything. But I mean, that's probably like the smarter thing to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, we still go to the hotels. It's just that we're in the hotel for 2 hours, maximum 3 hours, to take like a nap, and then we eat pregame meal there. So, and then that's about it. It's to minimize contact with hotel staff, with other people, obviously, in the state. And realistically, yeah, we get on the plane and we're only seeing each other, honestly. Like, I don't think I think we went to, where was it this past weekend? LA. I think I saw the people who served our food, my teammates and our own staff, and that's it. Like, I don't think I saw cleaning ladies, nothing. Like, they minimize contact with everybody.
That's crazy, dude. There's no booze involved at all. Like after the games and stuff like that, that kind of blows. But I mean, I guess it's a part of being a pro right now. Was today like an off day for you then? You guys had off today?
Yeah, today was an off day, so we were just home chilling. Honestly, can't do much. Honestly, we're not. They told us, obviously, we just, we can go have lunch and stuff like that. We can do that stuff. We obviously have to social distance when we go out and have lunch, if it's an off day. But again, like, that stuff, we're not really supposed to do it as much because we have a code of conduct that we have to follow. But not only that, you just don't know how you can catch this. So whether you're going to the grocery store, or whether you're going out to dinner, like, you just need to be really, really careful. And again, like, even if you one false positive and immediately now you're on a list that the MLS has comprised, and like essentially like you would have to go 10 days almost, like getting all negative tests. And even if it was just a false positive, the fact that you had a false positive means that it could put you out for a while. So that's why you have to be extra careful. And if somebody on your team tests positive, then if you're on the close contact list, that can also put you out for 10 to 14 days just because the incubation period. So it's like how careful we have to be. Like, it's pretty crazy, but we have to be so careful about even interacting with our own teammates, because if any of them catch it, you can put yourself in danger of playing just by being next to them, even if you don't have the virus.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like a huge responsibility too. Like, you don't want to be the guy that gets it and gets everybody sick and ruins it for everybody. So
100%.
It's good that like there's a lot of like precautions in there.
Yeah, that's good, because I know like the coronavirus, like, I mean, I caught it. I still don't know how I caught it, but like it's just like weird. Like I thought I would have been good. Like I mean, I'm West African, and I was like, yo, I survived a bunch of diseases back home. Like I could definitely survive this. Like this is nothing. And
My
then
guy said survive a bunch of diseases.
like come on. Like I remember like when I got it, I was like, dude, wasn't it like 10, 14 days ago? And then I was at a bar 10, 14 days ago, and then like now I'm like sick. I'm like, damn, like that's crazy.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely been crazy. I mean, just like I said, how careful we have to be. It's been a different way of life now that we have to live. You know, it's definitely very different. No travel, no family can come in. It's very different.
Yeah. All right. So was it? It was on Wednesday when we recorded. It was on Wednesday the 23rd. You guys played San Jose, big 5-0 win. Um,
Big man, big man.
Gonna kind of put you in the hot spot when you scored your goal. Like, congrats on that. You when your celebration, you kind of like did the classic like knee slide and you like stumbled a little bit. So like, how did that did that hurt when that happened or what happened there?
Actually, I have a reputation in this league right now. I have a bunch of failed celebrations. I've done a few knee slides. It's funny. I make fun of Cole Bassett because when we played LA, he scored. He did a knee slide and failed. So my first professional game was my first professional goal was at the LA Galaxy. I did a knee slide, failed. I was all over MLS for a failed celebration. It was hilarious. But essentially, I'm known for that. So I'm just used to that. I always like to knee slide, do something. I try to do different celebrations, but I thought I wasn't having a great game that game, to be honest. It was a weird game. So in the second half, I started to play well, and I was able to break in and score. So I was just like, I just felt that energy. I wanted a knee slide, and I thought it was wet. So then I flipped over.
Yeah.
And I looked like
Nah,
an idiot.
that knee slide thing, I feel like I was told that there was a technique to it because I mean, like Alfonso Davies when he first scored his first goal for Bayern, like he did the knee slide and he blew his entire kneecap out and he was out for like a month, like 2 months. So like what's the tech is there a technique? Is it true?
I didn't even know there was a technique, but I'm assuming like you can't just jump down. Like you need to make sure you're leaning back, probably get on your shins and not on your knees. I didn't know he got hurt like that. Me and
Yeah.
Fonzie are close too. I didn't know he got hurt like that
Yeah,
actually. So
he was because he was supposed to go to like a national team camp and then he was like, yeah, dude, like I can't go. I blew my knee out like when I did this like the sliding celebration. Like I was like, damn, dude, you're an idiot.
yeah, no, I mean, you got to be careful. There's another celebration I've done before. I did the dead fish, and that's not
Oh,
one.
you've done that?
That's not one a coach was happy about when I
Yeah.
That
did
is
it.
Chuck's.
So
That is Chuck's favorite celebration, like ever. He
Yeah.
loves
that
that.
that one will get you in a lot of trouble with the coaches. So
Wait,
that one's not.
when did you do that? Like what was it
What
recently?
No. This was like, wasn't an Open Cup game. It wasn't. Maybe it was in 2017, or was it in college? Maybe. I'm trying to remember. It was around that time between when I got drafted, or was it or in college? But it was around one of those times. But yeah, I don't remember if it was my college coach. It might have been my college coach, honestly.
Yeah.
But he was not happy. I won't do. I won't. After my rookie year, I won't do a lot of things now. Trust me. You learn. You live and you learn. So.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean now obviously I think last week we had Kellen on. Was that last week?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so last week we had Kellen on. So we've turned into like crazy like Rapids fans now, and we've been noticing like the crazy shift from like the season. Like what has changed like since like the beginning of the season to like now?
They play me. No, I'm just kidding. Nah. To be fair, a lot of people are crediting it to the youth movement that we've gone through, So obviously, I got traded here last year from New York City, and they started to do the youth movement last year. Robin came in, obviously different coach coming from a winning team in Toronto, obviously with a lot of veterans, so he was doing different stuff. And I definitely think, with myself, Cole Bassett, some of us younger players, we had to definitely wait a little bit again at the start of this year. But I definitely think that shift, once they went all in with the youth movement, I think that's really helped our team. We brought a new energy. We've changed the way that we've played also. We're a pressing team now. And I think that was a big thing that for me, it's weird to say this. I mean, last year we were a really good goal scoring team. We let up a lot of goals. We tried to fix the defense. So he was worried about defending. And then all of a sudden he changed. He was just like, the way I looked at it, at least, we make a joke in the locker room, but it's no disrespect because now we're defending better. But it's almost like he said, like, all right, we're going to just start pressing teams higher because then we couldn't defend. We're getting scored all the time. So let's just try to win the ball high up. But then all of a sudden it's been working and we're not getting scored on now. So now we're doing it a lot. So, and I think having a lot of young players with the energy, we're not as experienced, but with the energy that we bring, you know, between myself, Kellen, Cole Bassett. It's a really young team right now. So I think this weekend against San Jose, we played the youngest starting 11 in Rapids history or something like that.
Yeah,
Or
I saw that.
it was like 24 or something like that. And it's like, whatever. We won 5-0, but it's literally the energy that we bring. So I think it's the commitment to the work. I mean, we just been every single player, whether it's an older player, younger player, everyone's pressing like an animal. And that's basically the intent that we have, is being able to press like a Liverpool type of team, you know, that Gegan press, they call it. And I think that's really been the change of fortune from our team. And it's not, we're playing better football, but I think it's just that we're winning the ball closer to our goal. So we don't have to, when we went, like, you know, defending deep, you have so much space that you have to try to attack. Now we're winning the ball so high up that we have to go 20 yards to score. And that's really, really helped us a lot.
Yeah. I feel, other, like, a lot of teams use that too. Like Bayern definitely is like a team that presses a lot, like very high up the field. I mean, it works too, like clearly. But.
Yeah, no, I think though, the thing is I think that where I have to say I'm impressed with our team. You know, you obviously watch the Liverpools, the Cities, the Bayerns, you know, they can press, but they also have the best players in the world. So they can do it. They spend money to do that type of stuff. You know, they have guys that can keep the ball forever. They have guys that can score whenever they want. They, you know, for us, I would definitely say, you know, we're a good team. I think we're a good team. We're showing it, but we're also not LAFC or NYCFC or Atlanta, where we're spending $20 million a year for players. You know what I mean? So, like, for us to take that risk to press when we're not necessarily the best players in the league, we're not going to necessarily dominate the ball. We're not going to necessarily press and win the ball every single time. We're not going to press and convert on every single moment, you know, to leave ourselves vulnerable basically for a counterattack, not also being the best. Well, we're good defensively now. We're really good, but having a record of not being a good defensive team. I think it's a risk that we took and it's been working, but it goes to show the commitment to trying to now do something, because we know that when we get it right, the rewards are obviously endless. And it's been good in these last 3 games, but then against FC Dallas, I don't know if you guys watched the game, but we tried to press them and we got killed 4-1. And it's like, we're on the wrong side, the right side of 2 big wins, but also when we lose now, because we press, we're getting killed. You know, Salt Lake, we won 5-0, San Jose 5-0, Galaxy 2-0. We didn't get scored on, but then Dallas 4-1. So I think that's the risk reward that we're trying to take with the press. When you get it right, we're going to score a lot of goals. We're going to put you under pressure, but when we get it wrong, 1 ball and we're done.
Yeah.
So that's literally what happened to Dallas. 1 pass and they were getting through us.
Yeah. So, who would you say kind of is the most like vocal and who more like just like of a leader in the locker room for Colorado?
That's a good one, actually. I think Diego Rubio is a guy, you know, and especially in the attacking half. I would say 3 players between Jack Price, Diego Rubio, and then Eunice Nomley. Those are very vocal players in the locker room. They speak up. They try to help the young players. And obviously Jack Price is our captain. Diego Rubio is the vice captain. But those players, they're experienced. Diego's obviously played in Europe. Eunice has played in the Champions League, and then Jack Price playing in the championship as well. You know, they have the experience. They're the most experienced players on the team. And then myself and Kellen, we try to help out the young guys a lot, you know, with us having national team experience and being in this league a lot longer than some of the younger guys. So we try to help them a lot. And I would say, but for the most part, those are the 3 leaders for the whole team. And then I would definitely say me and Kellen take a leadership for the younger players.
Would you say, like, I feel like you're the guy that would be on the aux, like, in the locker room. Is that true?
No, to be fair, this year, I mean, last year I would get on the aux a lot, but this year I haven't, just because of COVID. We actually have split locker rooms. So my locker room right now, we don't have a speaker in it. So The younger guys are in one locker room, the veterans are in the main locker room, so they have the speaker. So I haven't been able to be on aux this year. But normally when I was in New York, I would get on the aux a lot. And then when I first came here, because we have a lot of diversity on our team, but a lot of guys only listen to hip hop and rap music. So that's
what's the go-to
my
then?
calling.
What's the go-to like pregame song?
For myself or the locker room?
Both.
To be honest, the locker room, it changes. I don't really listen because I have my own music on, so I'm in my corner getting ready. So, but I know they play a lot of Afro beats in the locker room. We have some Africans on the team, so play a lot of Afro beats, that type of music. You know, some Wizkid. But for me, my go-to, I listen to a lot of Afro beats. So I'm half Caribbean, so I love all that type of stuff, dancehall, Afro beats. But depends on the day. But I listen to like Young Thug, some Drake, Future, Lil Baby, Gonna for sure gonna
For
actually. So
sure.
for sure gonna goes hard. So but I mix it up though. It depends on the day. But I do have my go-to songs before like I'm heading out. Like, I have to listen to like there's a throwback song. I always listen to Champion by Kanye West. Like that's a big song before I go out. I have to listen to that. Like I listen to Superstar by Lupe Fiasco. That's a very like inspirational song to me. So those are but I have a different playlist for different days, to be honest.
Nice. Um, so kind of switching topics a little bit. I know. So you played in England you had a little period there. Do you think that you'll ever end up back there?
100%. That's my plan. That's my main goal. Hopefully next summer the plan is after the Olympics. That's when I would look to get a move. I don't know if you guys have been following, but I did have some interest again in the championship
Yeah.
over the summer. So I had Norwich came in for me, Barnsley. So I had a few teams in Europe that were coming in, but I didn't think the timing was right with COVID and some of the things that went on. But I mean, I think there's a mutual agreement between myself and the club. They want to be a selling team. They want to also develop me a little bit more to help sell me next summer, and they think they can cash in on me after the Olympics. So the goal is always Europe, and I think any player in the MLS, that's the plan, is to get to Europe. And I think for me to better my career, it's best that I need to get to Europe, and that's the best way that I'm gonna be able to compete really for a regular position in the national team.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious about your initial experience over in England. Kind of, I don't know, because you were there at a pretty young age, and it's like tough to go off by yourself at such a young age. And I kind of think,
Yeah, I moved there. So I went to England for the first time at 16. I was on trial at Middlesbrough and Fulham, and both of them offered me contracts. Essentially, I couldn't sign there because of work visa issues, because I have a European passport, so my mom is British. But I couldn't sign at the time because whatever the EU laws were for getting a contract over there at that age were different than at 18. So when I signed at Bradford City when I was 18 years old. I went over there. I was with the first team, training with them, training with the academy team, whatever. Essentially, it was hard. I got homesick. I did learn a lot there in terms of the way that the game is played over in England, playing in different weather conditions, because I never had that experience before. Obviously, growing up in Florida where it's always hot.
yeah.
So, I was there through October. I think I left maybe in November, and I was there through those months. And, playing in the rain, it was an experience. And it actually helped mold me to become what I am today, because I knew my second time being in a professional locker room, it's going to have to be different. And, you're with grown men now that are fighting to put food on the table now. So for me, that was an experience that I took into my college locker room when I came back to go to school, and then getting drafted to New York City, playing with legends like Andrea Pirlo and David Villa. I was obviously starstruck, but I also knew that, these guys they're coming to compete, but not only that, they have families they have to feed. And that's basically what it is what I learned is, they're not going to move over for some kid. Even if they are better, they're going to find their ways to be clever to get into the team. And that's something that I learned. So that experience, it was different. And I saw what the world of football being your life is over there, because over there, like, this is a third division team at the time, just off the bat of a FA Cup win against Chelsea that year. I think, they went to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup that year. So their team was high, and the city goes crazy for that team. And I'm just saying, wow, this is a League One team. Imagine the championship. And then it's like, oh, wow, I went to a Leeds United game and they were in the championship at the time. It's like their fan base was crazy. And then I go to was it Man City that I went to go watch play? And then you go to a Man City game and you're like, wow, this is crazy. So then it's like, but it's like the levels, like when you say MLS fan base and it's like League One in England, like League One in England has more fans than MLS, and then it's like Championship, and then the Premier League is, so it's like seeing what the life of football is over there. It's like how we watch NFL and basketball here, it's they eat, sleep, breathe soccer over there, or football over there, and it's each city has a bunch of fans. So everywhere you go, it's sold out stadiums for the most part.
Yeah, I feel like the passion is definitely different. I would say like over there. I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to go over there yet. I was supposed to this past March for spring break, but COVID came and stuff like that. But I mean, I watched a lot of the games, like even Champions League or like Premier League games, and like the passion it's just so much more back there than it is here for soccer.
Well, definitely, I will say, like, you're playing for something different. The pressure over there, it's a lot different. Like, that was one thing I learned. Like, I felt like when I made my first national team debut, like, I felt like it was similar to playing in the European setting, because now you're playing for passionate American soccer fans that actually care about the game. But that's how I feel like it is in Europe. Like, you're not playing for yourself anymore and just to get paid and just do. Like, I feel like you're playing for a city now. you're playing with the city on your back. You like, it's like I watched the Leeds documentary about their journey, about how they're fighting for promotion. I have a buddy that plays on Leeds right now, Jack Harrison. I played with at New York City FC, and what it meant to that city to get promoted to the Premier League after how many years was it? 20 years or something like that? They haven't been in the Premier League. Like, what it meant to the city, like the city, like not only from a financial standpoint, like the city is just crazy now. You know what I mean? And like that type of passion, like you're not going to get that in American soccer. Well, we hope we can, but that like it still has a long way to go. And that, that also brings out the best in you as a player. When you have the fans that are ravishly cheering you on, and also know that you're going to get killed in the media if you don't perform. You want to be the best you can be every single day, be on your best behavior every single day, and live your life like a real professional.
Yeah. So do you think that like the MLS system is kind of flawed because that there's no relegation like it is in Europe?
That was a hard question because let's just say this. I don't think it's necessarily flawed because if you really think about Europe, everybody talks about promotion and relegation. But being in the football world, being a player that wants to go into Europe now, obviously being a professional, you learn about some of the other leagues, like in Holland. There is relegation, but one team gets relegated every year. So it's really not a relegation. Like you come 19th out of 20th and you're basically fine. You actually are fine. So like it's still similar to MLS, but the thing is like, it's the systems over there. So like, in the Dutch league, for example, they know that there's only one team that's really going to get relegated every year. So like a lot of those teams have their belief in the youth system because there's really no consequences versus in the Premier League, there's like, the difference between finishing 11th and 10th can be millions of dollars. But in Holland, there's no difference because you finish 11th, but you create a superstar, you're selling him for 50, 60 million. So for me, I think in that sense, I think more MLS teams should be pushing to play youth players because like, of course, every team wants to win, but I feel like, when you get to that point where maybe you might not be able to compete anymore, I think that's the time where, you should be playing the youth players. And I think that would be the only thing I would say with the MLS is that obviously I think they're changing now. A lot of teams are playing youth players, the Philadelphia Union being one of them. They're playing youth players out the butt right now, literally. But I think that's where I would say it needs to change. But I think there's less pressure to perform for sure. Guys come here sometimes, and I do think there's a sense of being like a sense of security because there's no relegation. It's like if we're losing games, all right, guys, we'll come back next year. But in Europe, you get relegated, your salaries are cut. You could lose your job basically because if you're on too much money, they're going to try to sell you. Maybe you go to another team, you're not going to, like it has repercussions in your regular lifestyle.
Yeah.
But here, you come dead last, and ain't nothing changing. Unless honestly, the truth is, believe it or not, which is crazy to me, is the people who actually have more non-security in this league when your team's not good are actually the higher paid. It's the DPs because they're paying you so much money that if your team's not performing, it's like, okay, well, we need to get rid of him and get another DP, basically. But when you're in the middle of the pack, essentially, and that's why, like, they say in the MLS, like, they never can get players in their prime, though, because it's like the older players, when they have to take those pay cuts, they don't care anymore. But that's why you don't really see, like, get the guys in their prime because, like, they can make so much more money in Europe. There's so, obviously there's more at stake, but they can make so much more money. And, they're not going to be willing to take pay cuts in their prime. So if something's not working out, they're not going to come here and then they're like, oh, maybe we need to get another DP. You need to take a pay cut. They're not going to do that because they're in their prime. That's going to be where they can make the most money. So I think, again, there's some flaws to it. I think if we looked at being a selling league more, I think with no relegation, this league can generate a lot of money when it comes to selling players because I think the American market is interesting to a lot of European clubs from what I've heard. But I think, it's about having the right balance, of course. But I think if we were more of a selling market, the system could be useful. But I think there's some pros and cons to it for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think there's definitely a lot more players in Europe, like in bigger leagues, that are coming from like the MLS academies. Like you look at like Weston McKennie, he's from Dallas. Like Gio Reyna, I don't know. There's just like Chris Richards. Like there's just a lot that is like, and they're all just moving over there. So I feel like it's kind of in a way moving towards that. But.
Well, one of the big things I realized too, it's also not just our top players who are moving over there now. It's guys who aren't, and this is a good thing for American soccer, but it's your second and like in each position, the second and third tier level players in each position are even still moving to Europe. And I think that speaks to the quality right now in the US pool that, like if you think about like like, I don't know. I can go through, like, in my U23 team alone, like, we have 3 right backs right now that are European level players. I mean, between Reggie Cannon, Serginho Dest, and there's one more player I'm thinking of now, actually. But right there, then and there, and that's just the U23 team. So then you go to the senior team, you still have DeAndre Yedlin. You get what I'm saying? Or even the center back position, you have Cameron Carter-Vickers, Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie, who's about to disclaimer, about to go to Europe. Can't say where, but Mark McKenzie, who's literally about to go to Europe. Like, you have so much depth in these positions now, and these are players that are, like I said, not to say any of us can't make the senior national team, but who knows that any of them might make the senior national team. The fact that they can compete at that level in Europe, it goes to show the quality in the U.S. pool right now.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing you were talking about earlier, you were talking about when your experience with playing with David Villa over at New York FC. I mean, obviously you played with like a bunch of legends like David Villa, Patrick Vieira, and Andre Pirlo. Like, who had the biggest, like, out of them, or if there are more that I'm missing, who had like the biggest influence on you?
This one's actually an interesting question. The biggest influence, there's 2. So, number 1 is Patrick for sure, because as a coach, he was a great coach. He really enlightened me about how to really be a pro. But he was the one who taught me to really use my skill sets to the best advantage, and he told me what I really needed to work on. If I got this, he felt like I could be an unstoppable player. I was unfortunate that we only lasted a year because he ended up leaving to Nice, went on to a better path, for him better. Hopefully one day, maybe me and him can reunite in Europe, and that would be amazing. So that was one legend I would say definitely left an impression on me. Just seeing how he carries himself too, when he would play with us, it was crazy. But the second one for me was probably Jack Harrison, actually, because seeing a young player, this is a kid, obviously. I don't want to say he was a reject, because that's what it wasn't what he was. But, he didn't necessarily make it at first in England as a youth player, came over to America, took a very unorthodox path, and he just believed in himself. He really worked hard. And this guy, obviously you see him on TV, everybody's hype about him. He's playing at Leeds United, scoring. He gave Trent Alexander-Arnold a fit that whole game, scores – no, he did. He killed him.
Yeah,
Scores
he did.
in his Premier League debut. Everybody's like, oh, my God, like, who is this kid? It's like, but, like, I was with him for 2 years. I watched this kid, how he grinds. And it was like, this is what it takes to be at that level. You know what I mean? Like, everybody looks at the Mbappes of the world and the Jadon Sanchos, We don't know what they're doing off the pitch, but from what I've heard, again, about someone like Mbappe, like, I've heard Mbappe is a very Ronaldo-like in terms of how he works hard. Weston has told me about Ronaldo as well. Like, this guy is crazy insane about his dedication to the game, So seeing Jack Harrison, starting from college and working his way up to the Premier League now, for me, that was inspirational. And not only that, because it shows that, I'm just as good that I can do that as well. But it goes to show that anything is possible, that when you believe in it, when you believe in yourself. And he believed in himself. He knew once he got into the MLS, he has to just keep working and he'll get there. And he got there later than everybody. He's 24 years old. I mean, it's like, people make the joke, like, if you're 24 years old, you're not going to make it to the big leagues. But here we are, Jack Harrison scoring goals on Liverpool at 24 years old in the Premier League. So, and he had to go, he jumped step by step. College soccer, MLS, English Championship, Premier League.
Yeah.
So kind of what you're just saying about how, like, what Vieira said, I'm letting you know how to be a pro, and like what you learned from Harrison. So would you say like the biggest adjustment, like from stepping up to be a professional player, is kind of just learning more of like the off field, what you have to do off the field to get the results like on the field? Was that?
Yeah, I would. There's 2 components to that, actually. So the first one is, yes, the off the field stuff. You're not in college anymore, so you can't just go play a game, party, and do all that stuff. Like, I realized you can't eat like crap. Like, you really have to take care of your body and be in tip top shape. Doing the treatment, getting in early, getting your treatments in, activation, all those little stuff, they really go a long way. I used to actually have chronic hamstring problems in my left hamstring until I started to do a lot of that activation stuff. And I knock on wood, I hope I don't have it again, please. But I haven't had a hamstring problem in probably a year and a half now. And just doing little things, getting in early, just rolling out, doing activation, those are little things that really go a long way, So that's the first thing, like, off the field. And then on the field, just, you can't switch off. And that's just what it is, going in to compete every single day, like walking on it. Like, Patrick taught me to have that swagger. Like, when you step on that pitch, you're going to be the best player of that day. Take it day by day, but you're going to be the best player that day. Because, again, like, there's going to be someone else that's coming out that wants to win that spot. And, may the best man win. And that's basically what it is. It's a dog-eat-dog world, may the best man win. And that's just what it is. And then the last thing that he did teach me is that, like, never get down when things aren't going your way, because you just how there's a coach that might not like you, there's always going to be a coach that likes you. And that was the biggest thing for me, because obviously I had Patrick who liked me. I got a good run of games my rookie year, and then the next coach came in. He wasn't a fan of me. I wasn't playing as much, and that really hurt my confidence. That's just like, staying in touch with Patrick helped me realize, like, like, when I get my opportunity again, I'll get to show it. I got my opportunity getting traded to Colorado, and the next I was in the U.S. national team. And it's like, whoa, I was sitting on the bench a year ago. Now I'm playing in the Gold Cup, and that's literally how it happened. But if I had kept my head, like, was sulking, had my head down, and wasn't confident about, and believed in that, what Patrick said to me, I would have maybe fell to the USL. I don't know, So I think those were the three key components that I learned from them.
Chris, you're muted, bro.
All right, I don't know why my mic was muted, but anyway, yeah. So we're gonna move on to like your national team like career now. Obviously you kind of broke into the national team like pretty late in your career, and you were able to snag a goal in your debut. I mean, not a goal, an assist in your debut. How was that? Like, can you tell us like your experience with that?
Like I said, late. 21 is late.
No, it's not like some of the guys like. I feel like some of the guys like start like at such a younger age.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Or medium, an average age.
I would say it was medium. I wouldn't say I mean, you look at Christian. Yeah, Christian went 17. I think Kellen was 18. But I mean, I don't know who else is really that much. Tyler was 19. Who else? I mean, Jordan Morris was like 23.
21's prime, I would say. All right, actually, yeah, I would say prime. Would you take that? Would you take prime?
Nah, I think it's all dependent. No, it was a good experience. I mean, for me, I didn't deserve to get called in when I got called in at the time, just because I was coming off the back of a really bad season. I didn't play, and Greg Berhalter got the job, and he always liked me from college, and he was obviously coaching at the Columbus Crew. He used to watch me at Akron. So it was good that he gave me a chance, and I definitely thought it was more I got a chance to get called in just to get that experience, to get some training. And I did well at the camp, honestly. I did really well at the camp. I was shocked how well I actually did, because, a lot of those guys are in the camp, consistent national team players, Kellen being at that camp. I've known Kellen for a while, but, this is a guy, he's played, 30-something national team games since he was 18 years old. They've been in the camp consistently. Will Trapp, Aaron Long, top players in the MLS. And I'm skipping the part where I'm supposed to play in the MLS, and I went straight to national team. I was kind of confused, but I had that confidence. I went in there, I did really well, and I moved up the charts a lot faster than I thought I would have, and I was able to get in on my debut, and I really made an impression at camp. I was able to get an assist on my debut, and then the second game against Costa Rica, I got an assist again, but I played really well in that game, and from there, that's when my fortunes changed a lot. And I appreciate Greg. I give Greg all the credit. Like, he really helped turn my situation around. Obviously after the national team camp, I started to get some games with New York. I ended up getting traded, and then it was off to the races for me. So, and I've been in and around still with the senior teams, the U23. So it was a good experience for me. I think it really helped my career, and that's really what's helped propel my career so far.
Yeah. So when you were younger, like, were you ever a part of like any U.S. youth national team camps? Because I think that's kind of what Curtis meant by saying that. Like, he didn't mean like, yeah,
Yeah, I'm not trying to say you're old.
Fair enough. I'm only y'all age, nah.
Yeah, actually, I think we're the same age. How old are you?
I just turned 23.
Oh yeah, I'm 22.
Yeah, I'm 22.
Nah, so no, you're right then in that sense. I was always overlooked during my youth career. I think I went to my first national team camp was U20, honestly. I got called into the last camp before U20 World Cup qualifying started, and then Tab Ramos really liked what I did, and he was like, whoa. And then he called me into the qualifying. I did well in qualifying. Unfortunately, I didn't make the U20 World Cup. It was mixture combination. I got some injuries, and then I wasn't playing a lot in New York. The guy in my position was playing a lot at his club team. So unfortunate situation. But the fact is that I got called in so late, and I actually ended up going to the U20 qualifying as a starter. For me, that was an achievement in itself. And, I did well. So again, I was a late bloomer in that sense. I definitely, but I will say in my age group from the 97s down, a lot of the guys that you see that are on the top right now were all late bloomers. Weston, I think was in U17 residency, but like I think he was only there for one semester. I mean, Weston will tell you I'm really close with Weston. Like he's another one that was getting overlooked. You know, there's other players I would say before Weston. You know, there was Gideon Zalelum, who's obviously a very talented player, was at Arsenal. You know, these are players that were getting looked at over Weston, and Weston's at Juventus now. You know what I mean? Exactly. He's playing with the GOAT. So, but that's what I said. My advice is like, you know, I tell kids all this the time, like, you can't look at other people, because if you start to watch other people, then you're actually going to slow yourself down. You know, for me, it's like, you know, there was guys I would say that I was competing against in the winger spot, you know, that were definitely ahead of me by miles at that time. And like, you know, don't want to say any names, but now they'd be like, they would wish they were me. Oh no, but honestly, like, but it, you know, like one of my buddies that I'm close with now too, he's a really good player. He's on the U23s with me, but he literally lost to me all the time. He's like, I remember the first camp, or one of the camps you came in, I was just like, who the hell is this kid? Like, I've never heard of you. And he was like, oh, you just used to like piss me off. Like, just because I was just like weird. I don't know. He just said it, you know, but it's like, and now he's like, bro, you're playing in the senior team. It's like, I wish he can't even get called into the 23s consistently. Me and him are very close. And he literally said the same thing. Like, you know, and this guy was like a big time talent at the time when we were under 20s. Like, he was probably our best player in the U20s. You know what I mean? So, and so that's how it goes sometimes though, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think
what,
that's
like,
really
wait,
good advice though, what you were saying before, like just not even for soccer, but life in general, just like only like worry about yourself and not worry about like what other people are doing, because then you lose like your focus and you can't.
100%.
Yeah.
with like being called up and stuff, like did Greg call you on the phone, or was it just like over like an email? Like I know for like if you're like a consistent player on the team, like they send out like the schedule and stuff through email, but I don't know like how that would work if it's your first time getting called up.
No, so to be fair, I don't know how it is with other coaches, but with Greg is he likes to really communicate with his players. So even the players who are like consistent players, like he's always staying in constant communication, his staff. And I really like that because they make you feel like, you know, they're always talking to you about what you need to work on, what you need to do if you're coming into this camp, what you need to do in this camp. And he's very detailed. So my first call up, I got the email, and before I can even open the damn email, the guy called me. I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello, who is this? And he's literally like, oh, that's how you're gonna answer my call. And I didn't know who it was. And then I was like, so who is this? And he's like, oh, it's Greg Berhalter. I was like, oh. And like I was on vacation in Trinidad and Tobago at the time. And I'm just like, wait, what's going on? And I swear to God, he literally said, wait, you make me call an overseas call? I'm like, you're worried about that right now? Like, are you serious? But no, so he called me. But for the most part, like, he's always calling people when you're getting called in, and even when you're not getting called in, but you're in the mix. Like, you know, he's calling and saying like, this is what you need to do to push yourself now to get in that mix. Like, you know what I'm saying? He likes the phone, I would say, but he's always in his staff as a whole is always in constant communication with all the players. I would say probably about 50 players, honestly, and maybe only 23 of us will end up making it to the actual World Cup. So he has a good list of 50 players that he stays in contact with.
So what's been your most recent communication with him then?
Told me to go to Europe. No, I'm kidding. He didn't say that. No, after the MLS Bacchus tournament, we spoke. Well, actually, no. The last communication I had was we were supposed to go to this national camp, so I did get called in for that, but it got canceled. But before that, we were speaking a lot at the MLS's back tournament about, you know, I was coming off the bench in that tournament. I wasn't particularly happy about that. I felt like I should have been a starter with the production that I've had, but coach decided to bring me off the bench. And I just tunnel vision, did what I needed to do, scored some goals off the bench. And he told me straight up, he was like, look, like, I don't know necessarily what to tell you because everybody's different, but he was like, what you need to do is not look at and he said the same thing. Don't look at what the other guys are doing, what you're doing better than them. But he's like, try to figure out what you might be doing wrong in his eyes and try to fix it. And then that was his advice that he gave to me, which was good. And he was like, you know, when you go and speak to him, don't go and say to him, oh, because it was true what I had to say, but he was like, don't go and say you're performing better than this guy with less minutes. We know that's true. That's obvious. Go and find out, what am I not doing to make you not pay me as a starter? And I was able to figure that out. And now I've had a really good run of games. I think since the season started back, I've started like 6 or 7 games out of 10 games. And I've been doing pretty decent now. So
So where would you say you stand with him? Like, would you say like you're gonna be on the U20, was it U23 Olympics, or are you gonna do the senior team?
Uh, that's an interesting one. I think it also, to be honest, I think every single one of our positions are all dependent on Christian Pulisic. If he plays on the wing, I think it makes sense for me to go to the U23s where I can be, one of the more experienced players. But if he's playing through the middle, I think I actually have a real genuine chance that I can compete for a starting spot. And that's where, I believe my ability is. So, but I think the communication that we've had is that he does believe I'll be involved for World Cup qualifying, but he does think he wants me to go to the Olympics, even if I'm going to play with the senior team, just because he says that, next summer our tournaments are Gold Cup, Nations League, and then the World Cup qualifying. But none of those are as big as the Olympics. The Olympics will be the biggest, and then World Cup qualifying, obviously. Well, World Cup qualifying will be the biggest, but that's not at the same time frame. So I think if it's Gold Cup versus Olympics, they're gonna want me to they're gonna want all the young MLS players to go to that because that will be our stepping stone for Europe.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah, so I guess kind of moving on. I was looking at your Twitter a little bit. I saw that you've been to some Nuggets games like when things were open. So is that your favorite basketball team? Like you think they'll be able to come back from
Favorite basketball team? No chance. Nah,
no.
I mean, I've gone to the Nuggets games. We get free tickets, but
Yeah.
and I like them. But you support Denver sports. We've done some appearances for them, so that's why I've definitely been there. But no, my favorite team, I like the Miami Heat. I'm from Florida, so Miami Heat stand up. And then I like the Houston Rockets. I like Russell Westbrook. He's my favorite player. They've been struggling. I hate seeing the Russell Westbrook slander, but Miami Heat. I would say those are the teams that I support. Miami, and then Houston. Well, any team Russell Westbrook really plays on. So, but I support my hometown team. So. But I am a big basketball fan. I watch a lot of basketball. Speaking of basketball, the games are about to start. So Miami's gonna play. Is it played tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe so. Tyler Hero though.
yeah, that was a little
Bucket.
bit shocking. That was a little bit shocking, but yeah, he's good though. He's good. We have a good team, and we got some cap space. So we'll see who we're gonna pick up in free agency. I don't think we're gonna get Giannis like people are saying though. No chance. But
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get somebody good though. I could see if we can get like a Danilo Gallinari, like another shooting big man, we could be good. Danilo Gallinari maybe, or if we can get a star like a Donovan Mitchell. But we'll have to see. This free agency is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we're probably gonna wrap it up soon then, since you can watch the game. We have two more questions left. One is like if you weren't playing soccer, what would you be doing?
I can't even picture myself not playing soccer. What would I do if I didn't play soccer?
Or is there something that like you're really good at that like not that many people know?
Bro, I'm good at basketball, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm nice at basketball. If I wasn't 5'7", I'd be in the league.
Yeah,
I'm not even
for
kidding.
real?
Nah, okay, I'm not that good. But I can shoot. I'm good at shooting. If I play anyone in like 20 or what is the game, 100 or horse or anything, like I'm a bucket getter. Like I'm actually low key Steph Curry, but
Bucket boy.
I'm low key a Steph Curry. But no, I'm good at basketball. I used to play when I was in high school. I played for fun, obviously, and then I played like PAL. But I would want to play basketball or maybe even football. I like football, but I think football is dangerous. But no, basketball for sure. That's like again, when I'm not watching soccer, that's what I watch is basketball. Like I love basketball. It's an entertaining sport to me. So I would have hoop dreams if I didn't play soccer.
Yeah. All right. So last question. Who's a sports icon that you can say has kind of influenced you the most?
I have two for that one. So for me, number one is Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, he's my favorite player, one of the first players I've ever watched. And I think his dedication to the work and his dedication to the game really has inspired me not only to be great, but to not settle for anything less than great. So I want to be good, but I want to be more than good. He doesn't even want to be great. He wants to be exceptional. So I think it's not settling. And then also Kobe Bryant. I think Kobe Bryant. He's been a role model for myself when it comes to, again, dedication, hard work. Someone that's just never saying no. He's allergic to no, literally. He doesn't give up. I think those two players, you combine them in two different sports, two different atmospheres as well. Like, really influences my own soccer career, and just about basically just never giving up, and like I said, believing anything is possible. I think with those two guys, again, like, not so much Ronaldo. I think he was always a super talented player, but Kobe Bryant coming 13th pick in the draft, people kind of slept on it. I don't want to say slept on it, but I mean, easy should have been number one in hindsight. All those 12 other teams are obviously upset, and what did he say on his draft day interview? He literally said, like, all those teams that passed me, you're gonna see. It's a very, very, so I like that type of attitude. Someone that he grew up in where I'm from, Broward County, Lamar Jackson. Obviously he's famous for basically the whole thing about I'm pretty good for a wide receiver. People thought he would be trying to tell him where he should play. All what is it? 32 draft picks, all 31 people. We don't want to take someone who only can run the ball. They must be kicking themselves right now. The Miami Dolphins, you kicking yourself right now. You could have had someone from our hometown, but so that mentality though, with Kobe, Ronaldo, I feel like those guys were in this generation of sports. Like, for me, they started that type of attitude and that mentality, and that's why for me they're like my role models.
Yeah, somebody else who has that too that I guess is a role model too is Tom Brady, because he was like huge underdog. He was drafted in like sixth round of the draft, like 190 and.
Oh no, Tom Brady, for me, Tom Brady again, he's another one too. Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The only reason why I said those two because I watch basketball and soccer. But Tom Brady again, like you said, he is an epitome of like nothing is gonna come to you. You got to work for it. He was not given anything, and now for me, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback ever to play. And I will argue that to the day I die. Lamar Jackson's coming. No, I'm just kidding. Patrick Mahomes is coming.
My guy, I'm a Giants fan. Eli Manning got Brady in the 2 Super Bowls. This is a Patriots fan. I forgot.
Dude, yeah, I actually haven't watched football in like all this season. Like, I haven't had the time.
Bro, but anyway, want to see Cam the man?
Nah, dude. He's just, I don't know. I had time. I think that's what my thing is, like, time. Like, I'm just so busy with like other stuff going on. I gotta watch some MLS games too now. gotta watch more Rapids games.
I feel you on that.
But all right, man. It was it was really nice having you on the call today. We're probably just gonna wrap it up here. Chuck, you have anything else you want to say?
No, just thanks for coming on. You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me. Anytime you guys want, just holla at me.
For sure, dog.